what I've been doing lately is I've been doing a quick like 30-second just video of myself
Hmm.
using my camera. And so
Hmm.
that'll kind of greet the audience and let them know. I'll be like, hey, I just talked to Ashley. We talked about copywriting, freelancing, and LinkedIn. You guys might like this episode, and check it out. And then so what's up? I think we're recording.
What's up?
Yeah, we're recording.
Are
Okay.
we?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Did you want to do like any type of video for your channel, or what did you want to talk about?
Yeah, I mean, we could do kind of like a little bit of both if you wanted to. Like what I did with Nico the other day was we started with one of us where we can kind of interview the other, and then the second half of the video is for the other person, and then you could just send me the recording, and I'll just edit it.
Okay.
Edit the first half out if you wanted to.
Okay. So,
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know if you wanna. You can start. We could start with you. We could start with me. Whatever, however you want to do it. And I'm not sure what you feel like would be the most beneficial for you to be able to talk about to my audience.
yeah. Let's learn more about you, and then that way I can speak with more
Sure.
focus on what's yeah, what your goals are.
All right, cool. Let's do it.
So tell me, how'd you start on LinkedIn? What are you doing on LinkedIn, and what are your goals for the platform, and how can I help you?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I started on LinkedIn actually just back in like August, September. I've been on LinkedIn since 2011 or 2012, but kind of like everybody's story, it's was just a place to hang a resume and really just like this static page that didn't really do anything for me. And then I started my copywriting business almost 2 years ago now. And the first year, a lot of time was just spent getting used to the idea of being a freelancer and kind of setting up all of those backend systems in order to do that and taking on small projects and getting used to. So I've always been a writer, but copywriting and getting used to doing that kind of writing. It takes a little bit of time. And so I practiced a bunch of different mediums and kind of took anything that came my way because I wanted to see what it felt like to write emails versus landing pages. And over the past, I'd say about year and a half, I've really honed down into becoming a website copywriter and getting serious about building my business, getting really interested in using video to grow my business and being on LinkedIn and just creating content and trying to educate my audience pretty
Okay.
much.
I saw you posted the other day something about like micro copy on your
Yeah.
website. Would you tell
Hmm.
me about that?
Yeah, microcopy is just a really good opportunity for business owners to just develop a deeper relationship because by the time somebody is engaging with your microcopy, most of the time they've at least made some kind of decision to go a little bit further into your content or your offerings. They either are going to sign up for your opt-in or they actually are going to buy your product. And now you're at the point where they're in your funnel where you might be sending them a thank you message or you might be moving them through your sales funnel for some reason. And so the micro copy is the copy that provides instructions to people what how they should fill out a form, what are the next steps. And I think a lot of the times that people miss out on that opportunity to show more of their brand's personality to their customer because I think they just end up using whatever default kind of copy is available, whether it's in Unbounce or something like that, where it just suggests, hey, click here. And so I think that microcopy is something that is often overlooked, but extremely useful to, like I said, just building rapport and trust with your audience. It's just another opportunity to show who you are.
Awesome. So,
Yeah.
you got into freelancing. You started doing copywriting. Did you
Hmm.
know that you wanted to do copywriting when you first started, or did you?
Yeah, absolutely. I really have always, like I said, I've always been a writer in my life. I've always devoured books as fast as I can. So have always been my thing. But for some reason, I always just figured that if you weren't going to write a book or be an actual author, it meant that you couldn't, or be an English teacher. There wasn't that much that you could do with writing. And then over the years, I started looking at different bloggers and content creators and realized that there was an opportunity there for me to be creative and show my skills and teach myself even more skills. There's just so much resources out there on the web for people to pick something up and really learn it themselves if they're motivated enough to do it. So I just really went whole hog into that.
Awesome. Have you done any writing on Korra?
I haven't done any writing on Korra. I know that there's a lot of people who actually have really made a name for themselves. There's this guy, Will Cole, who writes on Medium a lot, and he became like a top, Korra writer. And I use Korra a lot for customer research, but I haven't been on it as a creator or a
Okay.
contributor that much.
It was cool. I did a couple answers and for SCADA, and like within a few weeks I was like one of the most viewed writers for SCADA, which was pretty cool, but it's not
Really?
that surprising because it's such a niche industry.
Hmm.
That's why it's also been really um, easy to kind of make a name for myself in that industry on video and on LinkedIn, and how I've been able to get all these like sponsor deals to go to events and
Hmm.
make videos. And but writing, it really is like an art form, just like video, just like art itself, just like any other content medium. It's an art, and that's good that you've been able to find your
Yeah.
passion for that art and kind of craft it into a business.
Yeah, I think it's really, you hit the nail on the head. It is an art. And so it's like, of course, it's a way that everybody communicates. Like we all write in a utilitarian function to get our point across. But, I think that's the common misconception, is that sometimes people, they'll get in. I see owners all the time, business owners, who will get into a website and they'll think, well, I'll just write it. And then they realize as they start writing it, they're like, wow, this is harder than I thought it was going to be. It's really hard to write about myself, or it's really hard to write about my business. And so there's something powerful in being able to hone in on copywriting and then develop that as a skill set, and really just be committed to perfecting my craft in that way and learning how to write in that way, because it is way different than just the everyday writing that we do.
Yeah, I'm actually just very interested because you're like one of the first copywriters that I've talked to. So I have like all these list of questions in my mind. Um,
Sure.
so
Shoot.
um, now they're all going to blank. Okay, so tell me
Now
about
you're all
some of the
blanking.
tell me about some of the tools and systems that you put into place to be your own freelancer. Like, what platforms do you use? What software?
I started on Upwork, and just to get my feet wet and really just get into, how do you put together contracts, things of that nature. And that was my major kind of like referral source for a long time. And just quickly realized that Upwork was not the platform to be if I actually wanted to build a serious freelancing business. And so that's when I really started to network in my local area and connect with business owners in my local area, and then also get more serious about LinkedIn. And so, yeah. And then in terms of the tools and stuff that I use, I mean, I use QuickBooks for my invoicing a lot of the times. And I use, what else do I use? I use Asana for project management tools. I use, there's a bunch of stuff that I use also for like my personal copywriting stuff. So I use AirStory, which is a program that was developed by Joanna Weave from Copy Hackers. And that's really great because it allows me to do web research and then kind of drag and drop things from the web into different categories. So then as I'm doing that research, when it's all said and done, I can actually pull those pieces in to like a draft status kind of document, and I can like mind map and mess around with all of the different research as I'm collecting it off of the internet. So that one's really helpful. Um, yeah, I mean, that's really what I use most of the time in my kind of day-to-day life, is just, my QuickBooks and some of my research software. And then, yeah.
Awesome. So that's interesting that you started out on Upwork. That's the platform that I'm using right now to do freelancing for a few clients. So how are you getting your leads off? You said you got like referrals. So one business would refer another, and then they would invite you on that, or would you go and bid on projects? Or
Yeah, I think that a lot of the times what ended up happening with Upwork is I would do projects for people and they would refer other people, and either the person would seek me out on the platform and just say, hey, so and so referred you, and we would start a contract that way. Or sometimes people would refer, like I would get a random email that says so and so, they said they worked with you on Upwork, I'm interested in working with you. So sometimes the referrals came and were on the platform, and sometimes the person just reached out to me via email.
Yeah, from that perspective, it does make sense because, I mean, if Upwork is not like necessarily giving you a lot of leads and you're just getting them on your own and you're just using it as a billing platform, then it kind of is expensive, and QuickBooks would be a lot less expensive. And
Upwork is incredibly expensive.
yeah, it is.
I don't want to speak ill of it because I think that a lot of people make, it works for a certain set of people, but it's expensive. The 20% fees are pretty killer, and it depends on really what niche you're in. So like with copywriting projects, anything once you hit $500 with somebody, the fees go down. But I found that a lot of the times I was doing more like one-off blog posts, or I was doing smaller pieces of projects. So I found when I first started out, I was paying 20% on almost everything I was doing with every individual customer, and that was too expensive. And I think that they've gone away from, they have this like blind feedback kind of system set up where you both are giving each other feedback, and you don't know where what the other person's feedback has been until you give your own, which is great. And I think it's a great way to get really honest, feedback from both sides. But what I felt like more of the time than not was that you were kind of, I've had people come in and they want to change something halfway through, and once the contract is open, you're kind of over a barrel because they can just trash your feedback score. And yeah, I just didn't feel like it was very freelancer friendly as a platform over the long haul. I think it's a great way to get started. I think it's a good way to get your feet wet, but over the long haul, I didn't find that I was getting quality clients from it.
That's good. Yeah. I've done like a work for a few different clients on that platform, and it's kind of similar to you. Is most of the work is just coming to me. Either they found me through my YouTube channel, or they just searched SCADA on Upwork, and I'm like one of the only few people that does that on that platform. I'm trying to get more, on both sides by like talking about it, promoting it. But like I've pretty much done a lot of work just for one client, and we're above that $10,000 mark. So now it's down to like like after 500, it goes down to 10%, and then after 10,000, it goes down to 5%. So it's really not bad, and I like the flexibility that it gives me. So,
well, and again, like you're in a great niche. Yeah, you're in a great niche for that because there's not a lot of people on the platform. But then when it comes to something like copywriting, translation services, some of those more oversaturated. I mean, there's 14,000 copywriters on Upwork, I think last time I checked. So it's a lot of people.
Yeah. I mean, that's what people might think of when they think of Upwork originally, was like, I go there to get my website done. I go there to have an app built, or, have some blog written, but maybe not have my control system programmed. I don't know. So tell me, like when you do work with a client, do they like give you login to their WordPress website and you go create the content on there, or how does that exchange look like for?
Yeah, I set my client up so what I usually do is I don't do any of the adjustments inside the actual WordPress. I leave that I hand the copy off to them, and they do the layout. I do provide a few hours into all of my contracts of like back-end consulting. So once they've got the copy up on the site, I'll then, go through it with them, and we'll go through like UX. We'll talk about, should the headline be bigger? Should this button be moved over? Should we put a picture here or there? So I like to do that stuff because I want the copy to look as great as it possibly can as kind of the end product. And in terms of how I work passing the copy back and forth, I use Google Docs. When I start a project with a client, I'll set up their own Google Doc folder. It'll have all of their documents pertaining to the project, including their service agreement, their proposals, everything like that is all living in one place. And then I set up a draft document, and I'll send it to them, and they will be able to have a chance to actually highlight sentences, to request revisions, anything that they want changed. They can make comments directly on that Google Doc. And oftentimes when they make the edits, we'll have a follow-up call, and we'll go through the doc together in real time, and we can start talking through some things so that I can make the most precise edits possible for them, and also utilize the least amount of their time for that process.
Awesome. So that sounds really like sweet system. Do you have like a preferred type of copy that you like writing, like website landing pages or like blog posts, or what is your ideal job?
Mhm.
And then what is your ideal like vertical industry?
I really enjoy website copywriting. Like I said, early in my career, I had time to do a lot of different kinds of writing, and I found that I like website copywriting the best. And for the simple fact that website copywriting allows me to go deep with the research because I'm writing about your business as a whole. We're talking big picture stuff here. This is your digital storefront. And so customers and clients are really interested in having me go deep. I do competitor analysis. I dig into past customers that you've already had. I dig into your industry very deep. And so by the time I sit down to write the website, it's almost like it's already been written in my mind and I just am putting it out there because I've done so much research up until that point. And so secondary to the website, what I find is that I'll get a lot of people who then want me to continue with ongoing content creation after I've created their website, which is something I also enjoy doing after I've written somebody's website. I don't love writing content without doing that website piece first because I feel like I just don't have that in-depth behind the scenes knowledge of the business like I would the other way around. And so if that was my ideal project, that's how it would go. Website first and then ongoing content creation from there. And I really like writing conversion copy. So I love writing stuff for people's sales funnels. So I like the website. I like writing landing pages. I like writing email follow-ups. I'm really interested in the customer experience and how people are moving through different processes uh, in your business, whether it be to get on, like I said, to get on your emailing list, or if because they're trying to get an opt-in, like an opt-in free opt-in product or something like that. I'm just really interested in how we can best take care of your customer and have them have the best experience possible.
So how how do you in addition to word of mouth, how do you get clients? So like you're on LinkedIn, you're creating videos, you're creating content. You have kind of your
Mhm.
bio, you have your keywords. Like how are you using LinkedIn to get leads, or is it mostly just connections? Like how does that work?
Yeah, I mean, I've gotten a lot of business off of LinkedIn. To me, it's definitely my pillar platform. I love the community on LinkedIn. So it's not just about lead generation for me. I love interacting with the community, being part of the community, and just feeling like I can bring something to the table that people want to know about. And so I lead with that. That's the most important aspect of LinkedIn to me. But the benefit of that has been that I'm also getting business and leads from LinkedIn, people reaching out to me because they're interested in me taking a look at their website and telling them what I think and things of that nature. And I also rely heavily on networking in my local area. I mean, I just think it makes sense whenever possible to be able to sit down with somebody face to face. So I'm very big on connecting with people in my area, going to events, keeping close touch with my friends who are in complementary industries, whether it be graphic design or web development, things of that nature, and just kind of trying to make connections for people and the leads come.
So I find it fascinating that you're a writer, but you still can leverage video and be really
Mhm.
good at it. So how does that not tempt you to like start doing video? Like I don't know where or like there's all these shiny object syndrome on the internet. Like oh like LinkedIn ads. Maybe I should be writing copy for LinkedIn ads and
Mhm.
become an ad agency, or maybe I should do digital marketing. Like how do you not like how have you been able to stay focused on just writing and not kind of spread too far and spread yourself too thin?
Yeah, I mean, I think that video is definitely something that I will continue to it's a passion of mine. It's something that I'm really interested in. And so it's not necessarily something I'm going to be offering as a core service, but it's something that personally I will be using more and more of to grow my business and to connect with people. But for me, it's just that I really and truly believe in being extremely good at one thing and just being
Yeah.
committed to that one thing. And to me, like especially with copywriting or sometimes other service-based businesses, people take a few courses on Linda or they go and they take a couple web courses and then they're like, okay, now I'm a copywriter, which is great. I mean, that's how everybody needs to get started. But I want to be that person who's just bringing like something whole nother level of skill and service to the table. And to do that, I have to be kind of obsessed with it. So
Right. Yeah, that's good. I mean, I find myself struggling with that. at first I didn't really know exactly what I wanted to do
Mm-hmm.
within the content creation space.
Yeah.
And my journey over the last year or so has been kind of discovering that.
Mm-hmm.
What really resonated with me is, how you said you typically don't like, I mean, we'll all do it. We have to at some point if we need to eat, but like your ideal client is, someone who has you do, in-depth research on their business. You write their landing page, like you write their website copy,
Mm-hmm.
and then at that point, once you have that relationship, you continue to maybe do ongoing content for them, as opposed to just, hey, I've got this website, come write me a blog post. Like, I like that you are
Yeah. I
selective
mean,
in what you.
yeah, I mean that's exactly right. I just think that, I to me it's more about that relationship. And so not only is writing the website giving me an opportunity to dig down into somebody's business and get to know their customers, but it's also an opportunity for me and the other individual to get a feel for how we work together, our communication styles. What does that customer need from me? What can I do to make the process easier for them? And so then by the time we choose to work together on an ongoing basis, because when you think about content creation, like, it's never just one blog post. They're going to need this stuff month over month over month. And nobody wants to get into a monthly relationship with somebody that they don't know if they actually jive with them. And so I think that starting with the website is a great way for us to get to know each other before we make that jump.
That's excellent. Yeah. So like I've come over time to realize, like, kind of discover my niche and where my, like, what I don't like doing, what I do like doing. Like, I don't like like writing blog posts. And now that I'm talking to you, I'm
Mhm.
like, oh, I should consider if I have a client that needs a new website. Like, now I know someone who is really good at that. So, but yeah,
Mhm.
I like focusing on video, particularly on LinkedIn
Mhm.
and within the industrial automation industry. So like those three
Mhm.
things have, I've strayed aside from that over time, and I do like experiment, but that's kind of been my core, and that's kind of
Mhm.
really been, it's been serving me well. I've kind of been building a community,
Mhm.
and I don't just like edit videos for people. Like it's more like a strategy. Like I'm almost kind of like a brand, what is it called, a personal branding strategist or something. Like I help them using video get to where they want to go, like, and build that influence and build that kind of thought leadership
Mhm.
by creating videos on LinkedIn and engaging. And part of what I offer is like my network effect, right? So I'll work with the client, and then I'll engage, like once I post their video for them, I'll engage with it, I'll share it. And so they get the added benefit of, it's not just some person, online overseas editing their video. Like, it's me. I'm in the industry. I
Mhm.
know their industry in detail. So, and I'm also like an influencer within that industry. So that's kind of what I've been building, and it's kind of weird. But it's cool. I don't know. I'm having fun. So
I think that there's something valuable in trying a bunch of different things out. And so yes, it's that shiny object syndrome a little bit, but in the same sense, like there is something valuable in trying out different mediums, trying out different paths to see you know if how you feel about it. I think it really all comes down to discernment and knowing when, okay, is this contributing to my overall vision? Is this contributing to what my business goals are? And being able to know when to, like, stop putting energy into something and kind of redirecting your energy. But it's great that you mention, the network effect for your clients. Like, that's just an excellent way to provide, like, just extra value on top of what you would already be doing for somebody anyways, which is awesome because it's one of those things that, like me as a copywriter wanting to be the absolute best I can be in my craft for website copywriting, it's the same thing for you. It's like I'm adding that extra piece that not every person that you come across is going to have to give you.
yeah, I think the Misfits have done like something really cool in a similar way. Like if you look at some of their clients, like Jackie Hermes, we'll use as an example. She
Hmm.
started working with the Misfits and Quentin, doing personal branding, consulting, and video production.
Hmm.
And I think like almost a year ago now, like it was before LinkedIn Local Milwaukee, which was in August last year.
Hmm.
I went out to that, and she was on the panel there. But like she would go over to their office and she would create videos and they would produce them and, you know, put the captions on. And I mean, she's grown. I don't know how many followers she had when she started, but now she's like, you know, like a pretty big influencer on the platform.
Mm-hmm.
She's in Dubai right now. It's like, it's pretty cool to see the power of not just doing the video, but like doing the video with like an agency like the Misfits that have that influence already built into the product that, you know, the service that they provide, which is it's something unique, you know. Who's your favorite?
I mean, I think that, you know what, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, who's your favorite LinkedIn creator?
Oh man, it's hard to pick a favorite. I think again, like Quentin and all the guys, you know, Eric Didier, all those guys from Misfits are awesome. Mark Metry is awesome. Brian Schulman. I mean, there's just so many, and I've had so many great. The thing is like these people aren't just like these online celebrities. They're actual, like I would consider them friends. Like you have inbox conversations with them, like you talk to them, and you know, it's a good point that you mentioned about, you know, how Jackie's been able to grow her brand through working with Misfits, because ultimately it's really all about collaboration, and it's all about treating each other as colleagues and understanding that we all bring something valuable to the table, our experiences, our skill sets, we all have something to add. And when we look at that from a collaboration standpoint rather than a competition standpoint, like everybody just grows. And I think that there's a whole group of people on LinkedIn who just inherently know that, and they really just, they own it and they do a really great job.
So who is or how does your video like workflow look like?
Yeah, so I have two different kinds of videos that I would consider myself doing. So I have the videos you'll see like on my Saturday #Saturday Mood like series that I do on Saturdays, and sometimes like the just one-on-one videos when I'm talking to my audience. I film all those on my iPhone, and I use Clips, which is an iPhone app that will subtitle the video as I'm talking. It doesn't always get the subtitles right the first time, so I'll go back through and I'll edit. And with Clips, you can trim the ends of the video on either side and put them all together. And so as long as you're aware of that, where if you can't do it all in one continuous segment, just to be aware of giving yourself time to pause if you're starting a new segment and trim it down so you can put it all together. But that's what I use when I'm recording more of like an on the fly video. If I'm inspired by something, I will use Clips. I will process it on there, then I will put it up online. And then I use, as you notice, I record a lot of Zoom calls with people. And so that's a little bit different, because I might have a 45-minute Zoom call that I'm going to be recording with somebody. And then I'll take that recording and then I'll put it into Final Cut Pro and I'll start editing from there. So what I'm really looking for when I'm processing one of those Zoom calls is, okay, I want to put this on LinkedIn, but nobody on LinkedIn is going to watch a 45-minute video. So how can I pull out some key points from this video that are going to be, I try to make them very actionable, very useful, something that somebody can literally walk away from at the end of the video and be like, oh, I'm going to try that. I'm going to look into that. And so I try to find those pieces of the video, and then I'll edit them down and I'll pop those up on LinkedIn. And then I always put the full length video up on my YouTube channel. So if anybody wants to hear the full conversation, they can go over to YouTube. And eventually, as I build it out, I'm going to be stripping out the audio and throwing that up on Anchor or something like that to also be able to be used as a podcast. So
very dope. Yeah, I love podcasting. Yeah. It's kind of my favorite. Like video is cool, and I like that. That's kind of like my main thing. But podcasting is kind of like my hobby. It's kind of like my passion project. It's a lot easy. Mm-hmm. Well, it's actually not that easy. I did 3 podcasts yesterday, like back to back to back, and it was like 4 hours of podcasting. Wow. And it's hard to like kind of, especially because I do everything like live, like no questions. It's all, I mean, I think about what I want to talk about before, but it's all like on the fly, and I'm having to listen and then like maybe see what the next question should be to kind of steer the conversation in a way that I want it to go. And it is a lot of work. It's definitely a skill that I'm working on building. So
what's your process like when you're doing a podcast?
Okay, so I either do it over Zoom or in person, and in person, I have my audio, my audio equipment. Like when I did a podcast with Sarah Gross, I went over to her apartment in Santa Monica and we recorded it there. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so otherwise, I'll use Zoom, and so I will record to the cloud. And there's a few like settings on Zoom that I made sure I had enabled, like optimize for third-party editors is important, and then also
Mm-hmm.
making sure that HD is going all the way through. And then for me, that turn off, turn on, turn off original sound was important. I guess it for my particular mic, but I guess it doesn't always work. So
Mm-hmm.
I've been having trouble with that. So to kind of safeguard against that, like that's why I'm recording it locally
Mm-hmm.
with OBS, which is kind of like, think of it like Loom. Have you used Loom?
Yeah, I've heard of it. I haven't had a chance to use it. I do have plans to start using it for some of my videos, so I can screen share and still explainer videos. So.
Yeah, it's like Loom, but fully like you can put any number of webcams or assets on the screen or
Mm-hmm.
screen capture. I mean, it's popular for like Twitch streamers, but so that's what I
Mm-hmm.
used. That's what I'm using right now to record as well. So then I'll take it, I'll drop it into. I use iMovie for all my editing. I do want to get Final Cut
Mm-hmm.
eventually, but I just haven't. I want to upgrade my laptop first. Because I'm
Mm-hmm.
using like a 2015 MacBook, and it's just I don't know, it's just kind of slow. Like it does take a while to export. So I do think that once I get a better laptop, more new, like maybe a MacBook Pro or one of the new MacBook Airs, then I will upgrade to Final
Mm-hmm.
Cut, and it'll kind of have that
Yeah.
same familiar experience as iMovie, but I'll be able to
Yeah.
be more flexible.
Yeah.
So I'll drop it in. What I've been doing lately is I've been doing a quick like 30-second just video of
Mm-hmm.
myself using my camera, and so
Mm-hmm.
that'll kind of greet the audience and let them know. I'll be like, hey, I just talked to Ashley. We talked about copywriting, freelancing, and LinkedIn. You guys might like this episode, and check it out. And then I'll drop that into the front, and I'll put like my little music intro, music outro. Maybe I'll put a card at the end, and then I'll
Yeah. Right.
upload that to YouTube, upload that to Squarespace. That's where I host my podcast right now.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's a bit of it's a lot of work. It's sometimes like I've gotten like,
It is a lot of work. Yeah, to break it down, to break anything like that down, like whether it's video or audio, like you have this this raw footage, and then you have to process it, polish it up, chop it into the sizes it needs to be, and put it all together. So yeah, it is a lot of work, but it's worth it in the end. And same thing for me. Like as you said, like I'm kind of been using video to grow my business, and that's a learning curve. I mean, you see people like the Misfits and stuff where it's just like such high production, high quality video and sound, and you want to get to that point, but you have to really just learn the basics, and you have to kind of like fail publicly like a couple hundred times, like just have stupid edits or bad transitions or whatever it is. But every iteration, every time you do it, you get a little bit better, or you might learn a skill that you didn't like a feature in Final Cut you didn't have before. Like, I just learned if you just do Command B on your Mac, you can blade a video while you're watching it without having to like go up in the corner and like click blade, like something so dumb where you're like, oh yeah, that's makes things a lot easier.
oh, that one's really a good one to know. Yeah, I like when I'm editing my client videos. This particular client, Walker, he does a lot of false starts, and he does a lot of like he'll be like he'll like say like the like he'll like double or triple up his words sometimes when he's starting a sentence. So I've gotten like just really good at just like Command B, Command B, Command B, Shift Delete, like just
Yep.
editing it really quickly. And that works out really well. Like he's like, you took my videos from being hard to watch to being really engaging just by
Mm.
editing, just by editing out and like dead space. Like if he waits for a second and then you
Mhm.
edit that out, it adds like it shortens it down by like 30%. Like I would take like a 7-minute video and it would be like 4 minutes and 30 seconds after doing that process.
Mhm.
So yeah, I don't know why I started talking about that.
Yeah, but no, it's true. Like you get more fluid with your editing. You learn how to, the transitions are hard when you first start because it's like trying to like finesse down to like that second where you want to come in with like a new segment. And it's just hard to do in the beginning, or learning how to, when should you use fades, when should you use things like that, or when should you just stitch the video directly together, and just finessing that. But again, like you take somebody like Sam Lister, for example, who very recently put up his first video that he ever filmed on LinkedIn, which was like a year ago. And then you take a look at what he's doing right now, and you're just like, man, like his skills have just grown like exponentially in only a 1 year period. So it's hope for the rest of us, right?
Yeah. Yeah. The type of content that Sam does is really, really high quality. That it takes a lot of work. I've done like several like kind of more cinematic videos. I don't do them often because they are a lot of work. And sometimes what I'll find is like I'll go to an event and I'll get a bunch of footage, and then like I'll have so much footage that it kind of gives me anxiety a little bit, and I don't necessarily know what to edit, what to publish. Like I'll get out as much as I can, but like I went to Dubai for like a week. I went to Madrid, then I went to Dubai, then I came back, and like I posted videos while I was there, and I posted stuff that I needed to, but like I have all this footage that I kind of wanted to just make this vlog and tell the story, but it's like it would probably take me all day to do it right.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I don't know. It's like, okay, well, that hasn't, I guess, been a high priority for me because I haven't done it. So maybe that's not really the type of content that I necessarily want to be creating, even though it is. I don't know. It's hard to determine because it does create a really good effect. It's very engaging. I actually find it kind of fun, but it's just it's very time consuming to do something like that.
No, I totally agree. I mean, and again, like to that point, it's good to do things like that because then, you can decide like, well, is this something I really want to do all the time? Do I like this? Or if you're procrastinating against it, like, is it because you don't like it? Or is it because maybe you've set up some kind of like roadblock in your mind of like, wow, this is a big project. I don't know where to start. And so I'm not going to do it. And really being able to kind of explore how you feel about that and then make a decision and kind of keep moving, I remember when I first started, there was a period of time where it was like, when you start a business, there is so much that you have to be responsible for as a solopreneur, as somebody who runs an online business. So it's not just, I'm a copywriter, but I also am taking sales calls. I have to know how to send invoices and do my own accounting. You have to set up a website. You have to know how to market yourself. You have to know, now I'm learning how to record videos. And so there was definitely a couple of months there over the summer where yes. There was a couple months there over a summer for a while where I was like a little bit crippled by the amount of things I had to do. And so I didn't do that much. And while it sucks to look back and be like, man, I could have gotten so much done that summer, I think, I learned something from it too. I learned that I just need to take things one step at a time. And so one thing I constantly will ask myself on a daily basis is, what do I need to do today to move the needle? And even if it's something stupid, like I need to return this email, or I need to sit down and brainstorm this next post, just do it. Do that little thing because it's moving the needle just a little bit closer to your goal. And over time, all of those days compound, all those little actions compound, and they turn into big things.
Yeah. I think one of the hardest things that I've been struggling with is, time management. I've been working on getting better at that, but also like I've kind of, made sure that I prioritized client work, which I don't know. Some people would say I should prioritize building my own personal brand first. And I do, like, I haven't stopped that. Like I haven't stopped posting videos altogether, but like, I just wanted to make sure that I'm delivering the value for my clients because ultimately that's how I'm getting paid. So, and in a way, my clients' work is kind of my own marketing work too, because of the fact that people know that it's me that's creating that content. So it is kind of like my portfolio. So that's been something like, it's like, all right, do I write this copyright? Do I write this post for my client right now? Or do I do that tomorrow? And I film a video right now? It's like, how do you decide what you should do?
Yeah, I think that one of the things one of the things that I do, because this is, it's the same thing as a service-based business. You're always balancing your client work with your own business building activities and like revenue driving activities. And I found that one of the things that really works for me is like time blocking. And so in any given week, I know that I spend the weekends setting up my content for my own business for the week ahead. So if I have to do any editing, if I have to do any recording, I might do like drafts of different posts that I'm going to do throughout the week. But I know that the weekends are mine for building my business. And then during the week, I'm focused 100% on engagement on LinkedIn and as well as client work. So during the week, I take those tasks. I know that I won't have to spend as much time engaging on LinkedIn, or I can do it kind of intermittently versus sitting down and chopping up a whole 45-minute video and then editing and finishing all of that stuff. So I try to be conscious of that because, the biggest thing for me too, as you obviously can tell, is I have little kids and I have a family. Yeah. And so I want to be able to grow my business in a way that supports that and doesn't compete with that. And so I found that time blocking is really easy because then I can say, all right, it's 6:00 and I know that, my time for work now ends at 6:00 and I can switch gears and we can do family time and play board games and do all of those other things that I need to do as a parent and a wife and a mom. So
awesome. Do you need to get going here soon?
Probably. He's going to get, he's starting to get a little antsy.
Okay. I'm just going to be...
This is Elijah, by the way.
Hi, Elijah. Oh, so cute. Yeah, I'm just going to be working on I'm developing a beginner's guide to using LinkedIn video to level up your career. So I'm building a digital course today. I'm holding myself to it. So
wow.
I'm going to be working on that. And
That's really cool. Well, we can talk about that too. I'd love to talk and like pick your brain more about, just how you started with your kind of sponsorship deals and what your goals are for this year and things like that. So.
Oh yeah, sure. I'd love to talk about me. I was talking about you mostly this podcast because I was so interested in the copywriting. Yeah. So thank you. Cool. Thank you, Elijah. Thank you, Ashley.
Yeah. Thank you.
Talk to you guys later.
See you soon. Okay.
All right. Bye.
Bye.